What's going on, guys? Jamin back again, giving you guys another video on The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 16, Last Day on Earth. Wow, to cap it off on Episode 16 with Something to Fear, and I must say, although it has its tedious moments, it actually has a gratifying conclusion, despite a cliffhanger, and I'll get into that in a second. So this episode features heavily on getting Maggie to the hilltop, to getting her medical aid because she's having some pregnancy problems. Now, they first end up encountering a couple of saviors, and the lead group of the savior is actually Trevor from GTA 5, which is pretty interesting to see him play the role. He plays it quite well as a ruthless savage. And they block the road. Rick's group turns around. They go to different areas, and they end up blocking the road with more saviors. And they turn around, going back. They can't risk attacking them because there's 30 of them, and it's huge piles of like groups, an entourage of saviors. It's out of control. We also see throughout the episode there's sort of like this differentiating of tones per se between Morgan looking for Carol and Rick's group in the RV. So eventually, throughout the episode, you know, Carol is at such a point where she's having this internal conflict that she needs to shun herself from everybody else, and she just cannot take it any longer. She ends up threatening Morgan to go away, or she will kill Morgan, and Morgan leaves. She leaves, and she runs into that Savior member from last episode, if you remember, and he ends up attacking her, shooting her in the arm and leg, and we see Morgan come up just in time to save Carol, and Morgan realizes at this point that he needs to break or hinder some aspects in his own philosophy, and he ends up killing the Savior in a brutal way, like 6 shots to like the face. It's brutal, and yeah, we see at a point where Morgan can't really. We're at a point now where we see Morgan has to bend certain aspects in his philosophy, and he might accidentally break his own beliefs. And yeah, so it's interesting to see that concept play out. So since Rick's group is blocked out and certain areas from going on the road because saviors will block it, Eugene comes up with a plan, and he has the idea of taking the RV and by himself as a diversion, and they'll end up carrying Maggie into the woods and try to get to Hilltop. Eventually, it obviously fails, and while they're in the woods, they hear the whistling that we heard, very reminiscent from last episode when they took Glenn and Rosita and Daryl, and they end up getting trapped in their original spot, and there's about like 60 saviors surrounding them, and they get on their knees. Dwight brings in Daryl, which he got shot in the shoulder. Obviously, he's going to be all right, as we heard from Dwight last episode. And everybody's there lined up on their knees, and we see the grandeur approach and appearance of Negan. And he comes out of the RV, Rick's RV, and he's just like, PP City Pants real soon, like, the same dialogue from the comics, and it's fantastic. He eventually does the eeny, meeny, miny, mo bit, but we see that Rick is at this point where he's just like more vulnerable than he's ever been. Like, he is like having a panic attack. Like, he can't even speak. Kind of like No Sanctuary Rick, where he's on his knees, like realizing that like this might be it for him. Kind of like his fatal flaw sort of thing, but eeny, meeny, miny, mo. He does the thing with Lucille, and I must say, Jeffrey Dean Morgan does a fantastic job. He's got the outfit, the look, he's got the humor, the comical, enchanting, charismatic humor, and he does a fantastic job. We can't really decipher who dies by the end of it because it's a first-person shot, and it shows someone's head getting bashed in first-person style. And actually, what's kind of funny is because none of the actors actually know who died in that episode. They don't know yet until they actually go back and start shooting in a couple of weeks or so. So I find that quite like chaotic. How that's just, the audience doesn't know and the actors don't know, but the only people that know are Nicotero and Gimple, and that's just crazy if you think about it. I know that because uh, Chandler Riggs tweeted about it, and I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, by the end of the episode, it's randomized. Like, it goes eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Like, picks everybody, and then first person shot on the person who's going to get Lucille. And then, scene cuts, cliffhanger. Here's my biggest complaint. One of the biggest inadequacies with this episode is that the cliffhanger, I understand it's going to continue on, but it just kind of feels that the cynical part of me has this belief that it's just for profit, and it's just to have the biggest following, substantial following for the premiere of season 7. And I understand that, but in terms of story, I feel like they should have shown who got Lucille this episode. It would have had a much more impactful effect, emotionally impactful, um, for the group and their moment of disparity, and for the audiences, because obviously this is going to be a huge character who's going to die, like season 1 character. I believe it's going to be Glenn or Daryl. We will see who it is. But yeah, other than that, pretty great, decent episode. Not the best season finale, and I hate to say that because really it ended on a terrible cliffhanger, and the 6 month wait, it just kind of felt like shallow and insincere for them to do that, for Gimple and Nicotero to do that. The 6 month wait is going to be absolutely brutal, and hopefully we'll be able to decipher who it is by the season 7 trailer, which is in July. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.